Rates just seem to keep going up, and we just got done watching Federal Chair Jerome Powell speak to Congress, saying that it's going to be a long and bumpy ride. So you're out there looking for better rates on your CDs, your money market accounts. And I just got a list of structured notes and structured CDs that just came across my desk. So I thought I would start sharing them on the channel just because I know a lot of people want to get every last penny out of their investments. So this is kind of a hybrid security or a derivative. And I'm going to go over explain 3 of them that are available that literally just came across my desk about 10 minutes ago. So I'm going to go over what a structured note is, and I'm going to explain it. So let's just talk about it. Now, I do have a video that explains what a structured note is, so you can go ahead and watch that to kind of wrap your mind around of exactly what a structured note is. But I did want to share these 3 issues, and that's how they come across. They're issues. So we get them monthly, and then we can take a look at them. We have a couple of weeks to make the decision, and then we can go out and buy the investment. That's how they're done. Kind of like CDs where you see a rate get advertised and you say, okay, I want that. And if you don't get it before the rate is over or they change the rate, then it's kind of like one of those use it or lose it kind of things, right? So let's go ahead and get started. So the first one I'm going to go over the first 2 are going to be for income, and the third is going to be for growth. So this income one has a duration of 13 months. So similar to like a CD where you put it in for a certain amount of time and your money's sort of locked up, then this one would be for 13 months. So it's a 13-month income, and it's going to be linked to the S&P 500, and that's SPX. So the way that this works is, for example, let's say we put 50,000 or 100,000 into this particular structured note, then it would be linked to the S&P 500. So depending on the performance of the S&P 500, whether or not it gets called, again, there's going to be a lot of definitions in here. These things do get complicated. You just need to understand how they work. So 13 months, and it's going to be linked to the S&P 500. Now here is the juicy part. What is the rate that this thing pays? It's going to pay out monthly, and it's going to pay between 7.5% and 8.5%. So 7.5% to 8.5%. Now this number right here, how much it pays, gets determined on the date that this basically closes. And that is the date that the investment starts, which is at the end of the month. So March 31st. So on March 31st, they look at the S&P 500 and they make a determination if they're going to pay 7.5% to 8.5%. I know that you want that up front, but that's not how these things work. So they'll choose a rate in between there. They won't go above, they won't go below. They'll use one of these rates, and it will be linked to the S&P 500. So let's just say that you put in $100,000 day one into this, and the S&P 500 goes down. This starts to pay out monthly at that rate. It's not going to give you 7.5% every month. It's going to give you 1/12 of this rate. So this is an annual rate. And it's going to pay as long as the S&P 500 doesn't do one of 2 things. So what are those 2 things? Wherever the S&P 500 is on March 31st, is going to be the benchmark. And what this means is if the S&P 500 goes down, then it will start paying it out monthly. However, whether there's a give me, there's a gotcha. And in this case, it is at a bottoming of 20% or 25% contingent protection. So what this means is that as long as the S&P 500 doesn't go down more than 25% or 25% or more over the next 13 months, then this will continue to pay. On the other side, it's called an auto-callable. So if the S&P 500 actually goes above that March 31st benchmark number, then it gets called. That means you don't get paid and they give you your money back. Now that cannot happen for it's not callable for 6 months. So not that you're guaranteed payments for 6 months, because if it breaks this barrier, then nothing is going to happen. It just won't be called for the 6 months. Now, if it goes below the barrier, 25%, then you don't get paid that month. But if it comes right back up for the following month, then again, it picks up those payments. So that is how it works. You get a little bit better return, but that is the risk. You get a little bit of downside protection as well. Now, let's assume that it goes all the way down and stays below this amount. Then you have what's called market participation. That means you effectively, not directly, it's a derivative, but you effectively own the S&P 500. So let's say that your $100,000 initial investment went down to $90,000. At the end of 13 months, they would give you $90,000. So this is not guaranteed to be protected against market downturns, but there's a buffer in there of 25%. So that's what that one is. So that is a 13-month one. And then there is, if you want to go a little bit further, you can go to 18 months, and it's exactly the same thing. 18 months, but the rate is going to be a little bit higher. It's going to go to 8.5 to 9.5%. And so you get a little bit higher rate for going a little bit longer as far as duration goes. But again, there's a gotcha. In this case, if you're thinking about this and say the S&P 500, wherever that is, it's going to be the same amount on those two closing dates, the date the investment starts, and they're going to be the same. So the further out you get, the likelihood of the S&P 500 actually getting called is going to be greater. I mean, that's just, the market over time. But these are short enough time frames, maybe not. Nobody has a crystal ball, but I just wanted to point that out. That's how those two work. Now, these are income plays, so you're going to get those interest payments. And the last one I want to talk about is a growth one. And this is just a 12-month structured note, and it's going to go point to point. So you're not going to get any income from it. However, based on the indice of the JP Morgan Efficiente, which is a more conservative index, and in that index, you're going to get 155% of the participation. So, for example, let's say that the S&P 500, you just basically multiply whatever the S&P 500 did, you're going to get 155% of that. So let's just say the 100,000 turned into, I don't know, it was still 100,000. You're going to get 155% of whatever the original amount was. So if it does really well, then you're going to do even better. But again, the Efficiente is a more conservative benchmark, so don't expect it to act like the S&P 500 in terms of returns. So those are 3 structured notes, 3 opportunities. There's a ton more that we have, but these are 3 I just wanted to quickly go over and just kind of let you know what other opportunities are out there. When would I actually use something like this? If you have some cash that you just want to use, not necessarily like retirement funds, because you want to maximize your retirement. And really that should just be in the market. It shouldn't be in structured notes. But if you're more on the conservative side, this is going to give you that downside protection. And if you have additional cash that you don't necessarily need it for an emergency fund and just want to kind of put it into something a little bit more aggressive, but don't want to leap into the market, that's where this would fall in. So they are complicated investments. Hopefully I've broken them down to make them a little bit easier to understand for the opportunities that are out there. If you have any questions, let me know in the comments down below. But we will put more of this information on our Discord server. So link in the description at the bottom. You can ask more in-depth questions on the Discord channel. And that is all for right now. I hope you've enjoyed it. If you have, be sure to subscribe, and we'll see you on the next one.